Hey, welcome to Mind Your Own Biz, the podcast where we help small business owners with big dreams build something authentically you. I'm Alicia Yervis, educator, marketer, designer, nacho enthusiast, and your big sister in business. I'm excited for us to have this cozy spot to chat. Each episode, we'll tackle candid conversations, actionable tips, and a few fun tangents to help you run your business your way. Because business is always personal, no matter what anyone says. So grab your iced coffee or those nachos, and let's get started. Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Mind Your Own Biz. My name is Alicia Yervis, and I am your host. I'm so happy that you're here today joining me. So for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, and can see me right now, you'll see that I have a very colorful home office, very cozy, colorful home office. For those of you not watching me on YouTube, I will try to describe. I have a pink sequined curtain behind me. I have a sparkly pink disco ball. I've got rainbow decor, Rubik's Cube. I've got gem and rainbow bright Funko Pops behind me. I've got Slinky, Trapper Keeper. I've got a what is this? A fiber optic lamp behind me. I've got colorful rainbow ball garland hanging in front of the curtain. It's just like, I love colorful things. And I think it's important to surround ourselves with things that we enjoy, especially if we are running our own business and we have to wear all of the hats and do all the things and stay creative. And so in addition to just colorful decor and things that I love from my childhood and, just things that catch my eye, what you can't see on camera is that I am also surrounded by many, many, many arts and crafts supplies. As you've heard me talk about in some other episodes, I am a hoarder of crayons, markers, colored pencils, Sharpies, glitter pens, all these different things that I quite frankly wish that I used more often than I do. But I've got, all these different Crayola boxes and all these things because I do try to color at least once a week. I go out with my mom. Sometimes we have like little artistic dates, or I'll just color here at home. I have like those adult coloring books. One of them is full of curse words in very floral patterns and designs, so that's really kind of fun. Um, and other ones like I've got Lisa Frank coloring books. I've got what's the other one I have? Oh, I don't have it in front of me, but there's an artist who creates these awesome. I got to give her a plug. Hold on, let me look at it. Give me a second here. I was not prepared. Um, she is an amazing coloring book creator. And I have three of her books. One of them is focused on like forests, one is like gardens, and one is oceans and underwater. And her name, sorry guys, bear with me. Here it is. Uh, Joanna Basford. Sorry. Here's if for those of you watching on YouTube, here's one of her coloring books, Secret Garden, an inky treasure hunt and coloring book. So anyway, she has a series of these awesome coloring books, and I really love her work too. But anyway, I love spending time being creative and being intentional about setting aside that time to be creative. And for those of you who have listened to some past episodes, you've heard me talking about how I was going to be putting together my first hobby hour, right? Which was just like basically a group gathering for others to get together and work on something that brings them joy, whether that was coloring, making jewelry, crocheting, playing guitar, whatever it is. And so I had that a week or two ago, and it was a lot of fun. Very calm, very low key, no business talk, just kind of like spending time together on Zoom, doing something fun. So I was coloring, someone else was making a wreath, someone was crocheting, someone was journaling. There was like a bunch of different things going on. And I'd like to do that again in the future because I found that when we get wrapped up in our businesses, we get wrapped up in our families, expectations, busy lives, we're like forgetting the things that we used to do just for fun, like just for fun, right? And just setting aside that time to color, to write, to take pictures, to um, paint pottery, to do a puzzle, any of that kind of stuff. It's good for your brain. It keeps things limber, and it just like brings you joy, as simple as that sounds. If you need to multitask to do it, like if you need to, you know, listen to an audiobook while you're making dinner, or you need to color while you're watching, the news or something, like I'd love if you did it separate, but the most important thing is doing it. So, yeah, I'm surrounded by all these art supplies and craft supplies, and it's a good visual reminder for me to make the time to do it. And so, especially thinking back to when I was a kid, like you couldn't keep me from the crayons. You couldn't keep me from, the stickers and the coloring books. And so let's try to do more of that this year, okay? Set aside an hour, set aside 30 minutes once a week and try to do something just for you. Um, and in many ways, creativity and art and hobbies and all that stuff, like that's a form of self-care. And when you feed that part of you, you're going to show up better for your people, for your business. You're going to feel more inspired. You're going to feel more joyful. So it can only lead to good things. So I just wanted to give that little plug there. And I am going to keep you posted on future hobby hours that I put together. Um, but through creativity in my life, I was always like, I loved art class. I loved art club. I loved any excuse in school where I could draw, color, use construction paper, make things. Um, it just was always like an escape for me. And so, uh, in a way, though, it has led or contributed to where I am in my business and creating my business even to begin with. And so today's episode is going to be a colorful blend of creativity, business talk, a little, mental health realness. We're going to dive into a bunch of topics here with my guest. And I can't wait to hear how she uses art to spotlight joy and representation for kids. So let's get into it. So, a little more about today's guest, shared in her own words. Melquea Smith is a New York-based children's book illustrator, disrupting the clip art scene with handmade illustrations centering Black and brown kids. When not illustrating, you can find her watching cartoons and animated movies, learning all about Japan, terribly dancing with her cat Kilala, and giving her other cat Bumblebee pit pats on her super fluffy tummy. Sign up for her email list and get 3 free illustrations you can use on your content. We're going to put that link in the show notes, so be sure to grab it there. And I am so excited to welcome Melquea Smith. Hi, my friend. I am so excited to see you. I'm so excited to finally meet you and spend some FaceTime with you. We have been chatting online for a bit. We're in some of the same business circles, and I'm just so excited that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So listen, before we get into like some actual questions, I have a little outline we're going to go through, but I want to jump right into, I know that you had mentioned somewhere, I forget if you said it on your website or in socials, I forget where I read it, but I believe you said that your art journey kind of really took off when you got some art supplies as a kid
Yeah.
from your parents, right?
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, was that kind of the first time that you thought like or when was the first time you thought that you could maybe actually really do something with this, like career-wise, like making some money?
Yeah. So I have done a bunch of stuff when it comes to like my art career. I first started, for those who are like my age and like did art and was on these art websites, I was on ye old DeviantArt. And
Okay.
and that was how I first started seeing a lot of artists. Then I started moving into drawing more animal art and animal characters. And I moved on to this website called For Affinity. And once I
Mm.
got on For Affinity, a lot of people have these characters like called personas, which are like them but an animal, or a part of their personality but like an animal. And I started seeing a lot of people making money making money doing custom art and commissions. And that was when
Hmm.
I first started thinking I could really make money doing this sort of stuff. And so, but once I from doing that, I got into like conventions and like anime conventions and started selling my art through that venue, like face to face. And I started realizing that there's not a lot of money in con and doing a work in convention spheres.
Okay.
There's a with an asterisk, of course. Like I know some artists that are like making bank when they go to cons, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
I don't. Once 2020 hit, and I was like, oh, I'll take a break. This is before, this is before like everything went down. I was like 2019. I was
Mm.
like, I'm tired. I'm gonna take a break, and then that break just became indefinite. Like
Yeah.
don't do cons anymore. But a part of it, a part of me misses doing conventions and just like being on like call and just like being in business mode for like the entire weekend. But it takes a
Hmm.
lot of energy. So
Mm.
then I started realizing I was like, okay, conventions isn't really the work I want to do. I still love the idea of like doing animal art and animal characters. But I started taking a mentorship with one of my mentors named Chris Oatley. And there was one thing that he made me do, which really hurt for this neurospicy brain. He made me pick one.
Oh no, no.
I was like, oh no. And so he was like, you have to pick one. Which industry do you want to be? Children's books or animation? And I was like, okay, well, and the reasons why I wanted to get into picture books in the beginning was very vain, and I'll just share it because so so
Juicy tidbit coming up. Juicy tidbit
juicy
coming up.
tidbit. All right, buckle up, y'all. So animation was scary at the time. I had a lot more work in illustration, and animation was such a big industry with a lot of people and a lot of cogs and a lot of just a lot of moving parts, that
Hmm.
finding my way into animation was so daunting. And the thought of moving to like California was also very daunting. So I literally live in the state of New York, and New York also has apparently an animation industry. Although,
Okay.
Blue Sky Studios kind of crumbled and died, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Mm.
Um, so there was that. And then the
Hmm.
second part that was also juicy and vain is I wanted my name to be on a thing for
Hmm.
like in perpetuity versus like a second while you're like looking at the credits that nobody watches, except unless,
I
yeah.
love this. Wait, I'm pausing you because there is nothing wrong with that. And I love that that was part of your like making this big decision, because it ties in too with what I feel strongly as a business owner, and I share this with my students and everything, is you are your brand. And like when
Yeah.
I started my business, same kind of thing. I wanted my name to be on it. That's why it's called Alicia Yervis Creative. And I wanted to have the creative part be the umbrella that kind of would serve anything I might want to do in the future. So, like,
Yes.
even though when I started my brand in the beginning, I was only doing brand design and social media management, it has evolved so much since then to
Yeah.
now pull in web design, to now pull in content strategy, courses,
Yeah.
online resources and stuff, public speaking, podcasts, all that. And I've kind of let go of some of the other things. But I wanted
Yeah.
my name part of it, and it allowed it to be flexible and it allowed them to know it's me. You're working with me. I'm the
Yeah.
person behind the scenes doing the thing. So I love that you made that decision.
Thank you. It's so interesting because, like, as a creative, as an artist, as a woman, as a Black woman, like,
Hmm.
it's all of these things of like the things that you like. You like, I want my name on stuff. So I want money. I want to be
Hmm.
successful. I want to be able to, like, all of these things that I want, like, all of those, like, labels and identities and all these things, they I don't know. It feels like society as a whole is just kind of like, you don't deserve to want these sort of
Hmm.
things, or you should just be happy that you're just doing art, or you should be grateful and all this other stuff. And it's like, Okay, sure. Yes, of course I'm grateful. And I worked my booty cheeks off to be able to get here. Like I also
Yes.
I also am like obsessed about learning and being able to upskill and to learn different things and to be and to just do this stuff. And I do want to be successful and I do want to do this stuff because I want my art to take me all over the world and to continue to fuel my lifestyle around the world. And so yes, and right. So
Yes, and yep.
yeah.
Yes, and ah, that is so good. And it's funny because, and one of the things we're gonna talk about later is that conversation about fear of success and some of the stuff that
Yes.
comes up around that. But
Yeah.
just to share a quick story, like when I was starting my business in 2017, it was after I had spent 15 plus years in the theater marketing scene and
Mm.
working in, behind the scenes at some theaters here. And, when social media was a brand new thing, and Facebook ads were a brand new thing. And, all of these different kinds of things were so new. And I was polishing my skill set and building my toolbox for the business that I would eventually open, which I had no idea I was going to open. But when I did, I got some pushback from some, higher up type people or people who I knew who kind of were encouraging me to like undersell myself and telling me,
Mm.
oh, you're charging too much. You're just starting. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
am not just starting. I've been doing this for 15 plus years. I'm opening my own business. That's true,
Hmm.
but I am not just starting.
Yeah.
So I appreciate what you just shared about that because I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, yes, we opened
Thousand
our business
percent.
to make money. Hi, like we want to make money. Sorry.
Yeah. 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 1,000%. And it's like, we don't go to a grocery store and be like, oh, Coca-Cola charging $5 for a bottle of soda. How dare they? Like, it's just, we don't go to grocery stores. How dare you? Now, mind you, grocery stores is a food product and we got to eat the things and the fruits and
Mm.
okay, fine. But
Hmm.
nobody goes to their like hairstylist or their nail salon or be like, oh my God, charging X amount of dollars for a full set. Oh my God, how dare you just be like, listen, I like my nailsies and I like the
They're beautiful.
product and they're, oh, thank you. And it's like, and I want to get my stuff done. Like, that's,
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
like, that's the
Yep.
thing. You know,
It
nobody
is.
goes, hey, plumber, can you like, do you offer a discount? It's like, plumbers, plumbers and service providers for our homes, like they charge what they charge, one, because there's a scarcity. So they can kind of get away
Hmm.
with it. And two,
Yes.
because we need them, because we need them. We
Hmm.
need that person to do the thing. Or you do it yourself. Nobody wants to do that because I don't want to pay a plumber to do, I don't want to do this thing on my own. I'm paying you
Yeah.
to do this so I can, so you're helping me with the thing that I need to get done so I can do the things that I want to do and or do better.
Exactly. Like you're outsourcing so that you can focus on what you're good at and your passion
Yes.
and the stuff that lights you up and let someone else come in as the expert
Please do my
to do
roof.
what. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, yeah, do my solar panels so I don't have to deal with it. I
But
please.
in full transparency, sometimes I do side eye that Coca-Cola on the shelf and think, how dare you be $5 right now? Like this is crazy
Wait,
times.
but like, yes, and how dare you pollute our planet? But it's fine. It's fine. It's
Yeah,
whatever.
it's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Spicy.
This is the it is fine, like fire with the dog meme. Like it is
Yes.
fine.
Oh my gosh.
Uh so talking about creativity, which I talked a little bit about in the intro,
Yeah.
I shared how for those people watching on YouTube, like I have a very colorful office, but what they can't see is off camera, I have tons of crayons, markers, Sharpies, glitter pens, coloring books, all this
Oh.
stuff because I'm a little bit of a supplies hoarder, but I also really enjoy carving out time intentionally to just color just for the fun of it. And so I
Yeah.
loved reading, I forget where you said it, but you were talking about wanting to unleash like childlike wonder in adults too. And so
Yes.
I want to know, what does that look like in your day to day or in your creative process?
So for me, I I see the world differently. I see the
Mm.
world in colors and shades and hues and textures. And that could be the neurospiciness. It could be the fact that I'm an artist. It could be the fact that I'm trained to do it now. I don't know. But I I want people and I want my adults to just kind of like get that those gray shades off of them and just kind of see the world in a little bit more vibrancy, a little bit more awe-inspiring. I actually have a
Let's get rid of
coworker.
that millennial gray.
Yeah, oh my God. Like, okay, but wait. So tell me why, super quick. Why am
Mm.
I on like HGTV and looking at apartments and all this other stuff? Like, oh my God, this gray box is so modern. It's so
Uh-huh.
wow, it's so clean, it's so sterile. I love it. Like it just, but I have a coworker who her name is Jenna and she's amazing. And she talked about this thing uh, called an awe walk, where you go out
Mm.
for a walk intentionally and you look at things in a way that brings awe. So, for example,
Mm.
I love going to like local parks and local like forests, and I'm looking at trees and I'm just like, whoa, like these trees, one, they're huge. So that's number one. So it's really grounding and inspiring to know that like these trees have been here longer than I have been and will be here longer than I am on this planet.
Mm.
So cool. And just like looking the way that like just taking a moment and just like looking at a leaf and being like, wow, how is this leaf, shaped in the way that it's shaped, or the way that it looks so perfect in the way that nature intended, or the way that the sky looks when it's like in different colors throughout the day. Like we always say, oh, the sky is blue, but it's like, no, it's actually not blue all the time. And days the sky is gray. During like sunsets are different. When I call it like I guess a dry sunset. Like a dry sunset is like
Mm-hmm.
when a regular sunset happens, but a sunset is completely vibrant after it rains, or like
Mm-hmm.
once you take that moment and you make a practice of just like discovering these little things and seeing the awe and the beauty of just like everyday things, life has a lot more vibrant meaning. There's a little bit more childlike wonder. If you have littles in your life, just like take a moment and just observe how they just like look at things. And
Mm.
everything is new. Everything is new, apparently. Like everything is brand new. I have a nephew who's 2 years old and well, about to be two in September. And I give him something and he just kind of looks at it, knocks it against something, kind of shakes it around, kind of figures and tinkers with it to see how it interacts and what it is and what it does. And it's just so interesting and inspiring just to see how he looks at life and looks at things differently. So childlike wonder and also just getting excited and being joyful about things. Like that is just there is even though this world is really awful and things are happening and this just trying to not let the cynicism of the world keep you down. There is a choice in choosing joy. And there's a
Mm.
choice of choosing joy even in the face of just everything that's going on this planet.
Whew. That is such a good answer. I just love everything you just said. Because, first of all, I too have a nephew that's about to be two at the end
Oh
of
my
August.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
And he's my first and only nephew, and
Yep.
I'm gonna be his godmother in like 2 weeks. And he is just the best. I'm obsessed with him. He's the star of the show because he's the only grandson or the only grandkid. So, he goes like we just had Mother's Day was this past weekend, and
Yep.
he just is the star of the show. We just like stare at him and everything that he does because he's so damn entertaining.
Oh my
But
God.
yes, he's so observant.
Uh-huh.
He is figuring things out all the time. He loves his toys, of course, but he is just like very inquisitive about things. You see him just
Yeah.
figuring stuff out, and I love
Yeah.
like experiencing things through him experiencing things.
Yeah.
And the idea of these awe walks, this is so cool because, and I think I heard you talking about. I listened to another podcast that you were on, and I heard you talking about, observing the colors and the hues in a tree above you. And,
Yeah.
like really noticing that the things that we just take for granted that we're so busy, we're rushing, we're
Oh
got
my
all this shit
gosh.
on our plate,
Yeah.
and it's like, hold on. No, like we are being intentional. We're going to take this walk. We're going to be in awe of what's surrounding us. Like
Yeah.
there's certainly plenty of trees around me, but I'm right here on the shore. So I go to the beach, the boardwalk a
Oh,
lot,
yeah.
and just sit on the boardwalk, listen to the ocean, look at
Oh,
the clouds, the birds, like all that stuff. But I
yeah.
never thought of it as being almost like a version of a meditation in a way, because meditation is a little hard for me. It's hard for me to like focus and like stop the ping ponging in my brain. But if I
Right.
could make it like a practice where I'm going somewhere, I have like a destination, or I'm making it kind of a more multi-sensory kind of thing, I feel like that would
Yeah.
be really cool. I am excited to try this. Thank you,
Oh my
Jenna.
gosh. Oh my God. Man, I'm gonna forward her this podcast
Please
because
do.
I'll be like, guess who is a part of this podcast? It's
I love it.
you.
And I
Yeah.
love too that you were like, you have the awareness and that you see the world differently. And I
Yeah.
relate to that because I don't know how to really like explain it, but I know when I am out and about, or I'm driving, or I'm sitting on a porch, or I'm just whatever, I just like notice different things about the environment, certainly colors for sure, but
Yeah.
also like shapes and angles and different things
Yeah.
that I think are like worth mentioning or worth saying, like, wow, look at that. That's so cool, you know?
Yeah.
So I really, really relate to that. And I think it's
Yeah.
a good practice for people to like just slow themselves down a second and really take things in, which I know is
Yeah.
hard. It's hard.
It's really hard, especially, especially if you have neurodivergencies, especially when your
Hmm.
brain moves a million miles a minute. Like right now, I'll be like full transparency. Like,
Hmm.
actually, can you hear anything in the background?
No,
Great,
no,
because
I
I
can't.
do. And I'm gonna close that window
Oh, I
because
didn't
I
even
don't
know
know.
you had it open.
Oh, good, good, because
Nope.
I great. So
She just shut the window, everybody. No,
yeah,
I completely relate. I have ADHD as well. I don't know if I told you that, but yes, like it's
I
hard.
feel
It's
it. It's so
there's
hard.
a million shows going on up there.
Seriously, like literally, and they're all like starring and co-starring me. So it's like,
Hmm.
and actually, no, that's a lie. Not even
Oh,
starring and co-starring me. Starring me and co-starring me, but at the same time, like everyone else in my world and like my brain. And I know of a lot of folks, and I know I think of a lot of people at the same time. And a lot of people might not have heard from me in like, oh, I don't know, a month, 2 months, 6 months, but I'm still thinking about them. Like, I'm like, oh, I wonder what this person's doing. But if I message them and be like, hey, what are you doing? Like every time I'm like thinking about someone, I'll have so many messages and so many things that I'll just like shut down and can't get anything done. So I have to find a way to like be intentional with like the way I like show up with people.
hmm.
That could also be another conversation too of just like
Yeah.
how do I like try to maintain friendships and maintain like relationships with folks. But
Hmm.
uh we were talking about, oh yeah, slowing yourself down. So my mom, I remember I was in New York City, and I was with my mom and my sister. I think it was early April, and I don't know if y'all have ever experienced, like everyone loves to go to New York in the winter, like Christmas time, and that it's a vibe, total
Yeah.
classic New York type of thing, right? But
Home Alone 2.
oh, yeah, it's wonderful,
It is.
wonderful. But New York in the spring, oh
Mm.
my God, it's giving me iced coffee. It's giving me walking your dog. It's giving me like dark academia. It's giving me it's giving me
Mm.
like just like a lot of like, but like a little prep. It's giving me like I don't know what it is, but there was I don't know where I was. I was close to a college, and I can't remember which college it was, but I went to go for a walk, and I don't even know why I left. I went to go do something. Oh, I remember. I was off gallivanting or whatever. So I was over, and it was like in this place and close to Midtownish, and it was like brick clad, and the trees were full in bloom. And I just stood there for a minute. Everything was almost like not a sepia tone, but it was almost like like a washed out, it was almost like like an Instagram filter. And I was like,
Hmm.
holy mackerel, spring in New York is a whole vibe. Like it's
Mm.
beautiful. Like when the trees are in full bloom and you're just like looking down the street, and depending on the streets that you're on, there's like different brownstones. And I'm just like, wow, oh my God.
Hmm.
Wow. No wonder why my family, part of my family's from here. I get it. I get it. It's like the parts that are aesthetic, I get it. There's a total aesthetic to being here. And I remember
Hmm.
talking to my mom and I was like, oh, mom, do you notice that the trees are in bloom? And she was just like, what? The trees are in bloom? Like, I don't, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. There are people in this world that don't really think about that or don't really take a moment to just kind of sit down,
Yeah.
or not even sit, but just like take a moment, just like observe like what's around and
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
see that.
Yeah, like it
Yeah.
doesn't come natural to certain people. And I get that too. But when
Yeah.
you were talking, I was picturing it. I was picturing the street
Oh,
and
so
like the
lovely.
tunnel of green over the sidewalk and the steps coming down, all the nice apartments and the taxis going by and the dog. Like, yeah, I got
Yeah,
you.
it's given. I was like, oh, I was like, now I need to find a pink sweater vest because that's the energy about to bring.
I love that. Yeah, no, but thank you for reminding us to just pause for a minute and like be a little more observational about like what's going on in your day to day. It doesn't mean you have to be in New York
Yeah.
City. It doesn't mean you have to be at the
No,
beach. It could be anywhere. But just
seriously.
pausing and taking those little moments. Because they can also
Yeah.
lead to just like not just calm and just a little moment of joy, but sometimes inspiration, an idea, a project. You never know what it's going to lead to. Um,
1000%.
and speaking of joy and speaking of like being intentional like that, I want to talk about representation. I want to talk
Yeah.
about your work. How does that how does that play into your work and how do you see it impacting the people that buy or use your illustrations or maybe the people that, join your membership, which we're going to talk about later. Talk to me a little
Yeah.
bit about that in your business.
Yeah. So originally, like I mentioned before, I used to be a strictly animal illustrator. I used to
Right.
illustrate just like animal people and things like that. Um, and I still miss it, and I want to incorporate that in my work in stories in the future. But
Hmm.
I realized so to kind of like I'll backtrack after like
Okay.
talking about my mentor making me pick one, Chris.
Hmm.
Chris,
How dare he?
how dare he know what I needed at that time, like a true mentor.
Ah, that's the thing about mentors.
So he made me pick one, and I was like, oh, okay, so children's book illustration,
Hmm.
that's the route I'm going. And I still was at the time like a strictly animal illustrator, and I started joining different memberships and groups like the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. And at the
Hmm.
time, there was a budding, it used to be just a critique group, but it became like this bigger resource that's, I want to say either in like indefinite hiatus or now defunct, but it's called Black Creators and Kidlit. And that was our
Hmm.
original hashtag and our original identity until we rebranded as Black Creators Headquarters. And I met an author named Winsome Bingham who kind of just like we're all having like this virtual conversation about just like representation in picture books and how that was like a big deal for her and how that drove her, for writing the stories that she writes. And I was very green and new at the time, and I was still just like trying to figure out my way around. And I felt like a little bit of guilt for sure, because I was like, I just want to draw animal people. But then I started,
Hmm.
and also I didn't want to draw five fingers. Um,
Oh, good point. Good point.
Because I could just draw little pauses. I didn't have to draw like
Hmm.
actual fingers and
Hmm.
hands and anatomy. I barely know her. And so and so once I started I really that sat with me like, and I started thinking about just like, you know, I don't want to say like my job as an illustrator or my job as a creator, um, or this obligation, but I started thinking about like the immense gap. One, and of course, business brain and heart are always working in tandem. Two things can be
Hmm.
correct at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, one, as an illustrator that allows me longevity. Um, Drawing people of color, focusing on people of color, focusing on what is missing in the industry automatically
Hmm.
cements you. That's why when you're in business, they folks will say, or you might hear or read, find what's missing and cement yourself there. And that's how you're able to create, you know, create like a sort of like longevity in your career. You're solving a problem that is absolutely needed. So that's number one. And then number two, the heart of just like, okay, but I've seen like characters get misrepresented, or I've seen not characters, but people get misrepresented in specific characters, or I've seen, where it hasn't been done in a way that has a lot of intention and care. And I could see myself filling this role. And so I started playing around, drawing characters and kids and all different, different ways of learning how to draw five fingers, learning how to draw 10 toes,
Hmm.
not putting ears and tails on everything, which I still get the urge, but it's okay. I have found a loop around. Um,
Oh, okay.
uh,
Okay.
Kids in cute like animal costumes, which I
All
cannot get enough.
right.
Or like the little
Yeah.
onesies. Oh, like the little
Yes.
like
Oh yeah,
cat
the
and dog
little
onesies.
hoodie. Uh-huh.
So there's that. And then, just I realized I was like, oh, I could really like change narratives here. I could really change a lot of what is seen in, in picture book industries and things like that. So like I am a part of both like the picture book world. That's where I'm like actively working, but I have my nose in and my pulse on animation as well.
Hmm.
Just because that's a bit of an obsession of mine. I love animation and I love just like seeing what projects and children's media is being released and what is being produced.
Hmm.
So I always keep my eyes out on like what is being shown and how is that, like how is our industry shifting and changing, because in just children's media it's all connected regardless of like what industry leaders want to say, like, oh, picture books are completely different than animation, it's different than video games. It's like, no, they're all vying for kids attention. They're all media for, entertainment. It's all under that same umbrella. It's just different methods and different ways of doing it. So it's okay for it to have a little bit of a through line, but just being able to lean into what makes it special. So
Hmm.
seeing all of that, I was like, okay, strategically,
Hmm.
strategically, I could do this. And then the more I started doing it, the more I fell in love with it. And then the more I fell in love with it, the more I've realized that a lot of folks really are impacted by my work. I've done an event. It was called the MLK. I think it was like the MLK Showcase, and it was basically where illustrators and not illustrators, creatives in my local city were featured and highlighted, and a lot of folks were able to just like come and see the illustrators and see the artists and just kind of connect with them. And
Hmm.
I saw so many folks see my art and just like almost stars, like,
Oh,
appear in their eyes, and the way
yeah.
people clutch their chests, and the way that
Hmm.
people are like, oh my gosh, and just like knowing that that is a visceral reaction that my art
Hmm.
creates for people.
Hmm.
I'm realizing the more that I create, the more that I make, I'm like, oh, there's some power here. There's
Hmm.
stuff here that makes people go, oh my gosh, or just, like I just see that. Like as soon as
Yeah.
people are like at my table and they're looking at my art, and or they see a piece, or I give them my business card, and there is like some real power there. And so I'm like, okay, that's what's going to keep me going. Like
Hmm.
there's like multiple things that keep me going. One is my obsession with art and illustration. I kind of can't stop. There's like some sort of
Hmm.
physical being somewhere in my body or
Uh-huh.
outside that's just like, no, child, you cannot stop. And, and then there's this like the way people react to my work, the way that I feel doing my work, and then also the littles that I impact just by showing up and being here, like just being a
Yeah.
human, doing, doing that, like that seeing is believing, or see it, be it. Like there's something really powerful to all of that. So I'm still figuring out the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the true scale and true impact that, my work will create. It's a little bit of
Mm-hmm.
self-preservation of like, if I'm going to do this, and I want this to be a career, I have to make sure that I am able to pivot and make sure that like I can cement myself. I need to cement
Mm-hmm.
myself and making sure that there's longevity in my career, because if I
Mm-hmm.
was a strict animal illustrator, I could see myself having like a lot of I could honestly see just like a shift in, being hired on book projects and stuff like that, because there's a little bit of a decline in that, and just like strategically, but also the heart. So there's like a
Mm-hmm.
mixture, and I always
Mm-hmm.
try to remind myself that like there are two things that can be correct at the same time. Yeah, I want to make money, but also I want to make sure that like I make this world just a little bit better than, leaving it than when I entered it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I relate so much to that, which leads me into my next point. But before I get there, I just want to pause and say, I love that you were able to, because like it's one thing if people are reacting to your art online, like after they've seen it, or after they've bought something or downloaded something or experienced your art digitally. Maybe they leave a comment or they leave a testimonial or something like that. But I love that you've been able to physically, literally in person see someone having the first initial like
Yeah.
visceral reaction in person in front of you. Like I feel like that's not something that a lot of artists might be able to experience often or ever maybe,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you've had that opportunity to not only, have them tell you what they're feeling, but show you through their facial expressions, through their body language, and you get to see them have that reaction. And that is so special. That is so
Yeah.
cool. I love
Yeah.
that.
I wish I had
Um,
more energy to do more like live shows. I
hmm It's a
I don't
lot.
know what I don't know why. Maybe 2020. I don't know what happened, but basically like it is a lot, just like always being on and always just like, and also like always wanting to make table back and to like break even. Like that was
Sure.
always just like a struggle. And
hmm
so, but there will be days where I'm going to like be very strategic in like which shows I do, because I know that there are like the right places that I'm like, there are the right places that people are going to, that I'll be able to connect the best with people.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. You have to be selective as you're growing and figuring out, what you want to do. But
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends and colleagues and clients who, they're in maybe the health and wellness space or the craft space or the retail space, and
Mm-hmm.
they are doing the same. They're being selective about, okay, which bazaars do I want to go to, which shows, which like things, and it depends on budget, it depends on time of year, it depends on how long is it, where is it, all that. Am I actually going
Yes.
to make back my fee? Am I not?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a crapshoot, but it's a struggle because there is
Yeah.
value in getting in front of people physically, but it's you got to figure out which ones are worth it.
Yeah.
Um, but with what you're saying about, okay, like, hi, like, I want to make money, but also, like, there's this other side. You and I were talking offline about the fear of success conversation. And I have talked about this, certainly to myself in my brain, but also to, other female friends in the business owner space, colleagues, students. It's a thing. It's a juicy topic. I feel like we should go there.
Yeah.
Um, but let me first ask, when did you first start realizing that maybe that was like creeping in, like into your brain? Like,
Ooh.
was there something that made you feel like okay, I'm identifying that what I'm feeling right now or what's happening right now is an actual fear of success. Like everyone talks about fear of failure. I'm talking about fear of success. Why is that? How did that come up for you?
Oh my
And I'm
gosh.
definitely going to share too.
Yeah. So, first of all, my dear listener, I'm bringing you in. I need you to stop for a moment and just like leave your host like 5 stars because not only has these questions been amazing, these questions have been wonderful, but you are
Oh,
so
thank you.
lucky to have Alicia as your host. So,
Oh,
bringing you in. Come on, y'all. Just pause it.
thank
It'll
you.
get juicy.
So sweet. Thank you.
Of course. So, fear of success. So, I'm going to like check in with my body for a moment.
Mm,
And
okay,
actually, I
let's do
want
it.
you listeners also, please, like my dear
Let's do
listener,
this.
check in with your body. When you hear fear of success, what do you feel? Right now, I feel numb. I feel kind of like
Mm,
my body feels like static. I
okay.
feel like there's like a heart palpitations, and it's not because I
Yes.
just had literally light roast coffee about a hour ago. Oh my god, dark roast for me. Light roast is way too much caffeine.
It's strong, yeah.
I can't do it. I
Which you would
can't do
think
it.
it would be the opposite, but it's not.
Yes, yeah, totally. And I was wondering, I was like, why am I feeling like I'm flying and falling? And it's because of light roast coffee.
Yep.
Um, I feel like a little pit in my tummy, and I have
Hmm.
never talked about like the fear of success, but I started thinking about it relatively recently as almost like this introspection of like, why do I push back on certain ideas or certain things or the idea of doing something? Like, why do I sabotage myself when I know I have lightning in a bottle? When I know that
Mm,
certain aspects of like my career or my art or myself are really good, and that I know that I could, like, if I focus on a thing, I could actually make this thing work.
hmm.
So, fear of success. So recently, that's kind of, and I'd say within the last maybe 6 months, 6 months to a
Hmm.
year, I started thinking about it, and I was like, there's something here. Like either there's like really good ideas, really good projects that I could, that I could do, really good ventures and things that I could actually like make a profit, make money, be able to like sustain myself, be able to have fun while doing it, and to be able to serve my audience. And for some weird reason, I just, something in me, my body, my soul, my something decided to like kind of grab my wrist and keep me there. And I'm like, wait.
Mm.
So, for example, the membership that we'll get into later, I knew that there was an idea that the way it came about was I would love to move abroad. That is my big goal, I guess, in this day and age of my stage
Okay.
in life. Um, but with moving abroad, you have to figure out your visa and all of the nitty gritty of like, how does this work?
Yeah.
I don't have, like I said before, I have a jobby job, and
Hmm.
my jobby job most likely will not be able to come with me abroad. And I
Okay.
have trying to exhaust every option, and I know that like I love my job, I love my team, I love my overall team, I love everything about my job, but I just love moving up the thought and the action of living abroad like 10%
Hmm.
more, and it breaks my heart. But so I'm just like, okay, well, how am I supposed to qualify with these? Like, there's qualifications in order to like have specific visas. And
Mm.
I know that I could be able to do something with my artwork. I have a business, and my artwork isn't my business. And there's got to be a way. But the only problem is the income requirements are the biggest thing. That's the biggest like
Hmm.
hurdle. So
Interesting.
a lot of places that I'm looking into, they're like, you need to at least make $2,000 or euros a month from your business entity. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just like the minimum that I'm seeing. Now, of course,
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at places that have higher costs of living, like Europe, which I would love to start like kind of breaking away and like figuring out what other countries that are not in Europe that I would be really
Yeah.
interested in moving to. But at this present moment, I'm seeing a lot of places that have like higher costs of living. And so, um, and not even just the cost of living, but just that requirement to be able to meet at minimum. So we're looking at like places are like 2,800, 3,000, 4,000 a month, which and that's in local currency too. So I'm just like, I'm looking at like what I'm making now, and I'm like, this is not. I'm actually losing money with my business
Okay.
right now
Mm-hmm.
more than I'm
Yeah.
making money because I'm
Mm-hmm.
just putting so much into like my education and just promos and all this other stuff and kind of building a different foundation. And so I'm just like, this isn't going to work. And so I had to think about
The
like
math isn't mathing.
math ain't mathing, y'all. I don't know. I'm looking at this calculator and it's just like, girl, you need to figure something out. That's what the
Mm-hmm.
calculator told me. And I said, all right, well, let's see what are ways for me to make more income. What are ways for me to scale my work? Because I'm a service provider, I illustrate picture books, but I don't want to always trade my time for income because I have limited
Mm-hmm.
time. And I also realize I like being out in these streets. I like going out and exploring and I like looking at
Yes.
trees and I don't get paid to look at trees, y'all. So I just,
We need these all walks,
I need
okay?
these all walks and I want to like explore and be a present auntie and be a present partner and be
Yeah.
a present friend and be a present
Mm-hmm.
loved one and be able to go out and do the things. And so I was like, all right, well, I really need to figure out how am I going to make income and then how am I going to build like my business to a point where I can actually make make a living and b
Mm-hmm.
be able to or at least supplement the living, right? Like I don't necessarily see myself I don't know if I would fully do art full time.
Okay.
Maybe, I'm not sure. There's a little bit of like the ability of like because I'm working and I have other things that's taking away from my art, it allows me to like actually focus better. Maybe I'm
Mm.
still figuring that out, but I do feel
Mm-hmm.
like because there's like times where it's pulling me away from art versus like having all the time in the world to do art. If I had all the time in the world to do like my illustration work, I probably wouldn't get as much done as I am doing now because it's just forcing me,
Mm.
it's giving me like, no, you have to do these things. I'm like, oh no, I gotta, all right, fine.
Mm-hmm.
Let me, once I'm done, I'll actually take the time to like do the art. So
Mm-hmm. Working under pressure.
yeah, working under pressure a little bit. So that I had to get away from that fear of success because if I keep sabotaging myself, I can't live abroad. If I keep
Mm-hmm.
sabotaging myself, I I can't live the life that I have like journaled for days and weeks about, you know. But that fear of success, it comes from this fear of being seen and perceived.
Mm.
You
Mm.
know, I'm the only Melquea Smith who is an illustrator, I guess, on this planet Earth, you know? And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so like there is a fear of that. There is a fear of what happens if I'm so successful that I can't keep up? What
Mm-hmm.
happens if I'm so successful that I drop the ball? What happens if I grow exponentially to the point where if I do, I don't know, let's say, what's like a big Target reaches out to me and big company B reaches out to me and
Mm-hmm.
big influencer here reaches out to me and I'm on national television and all like that's huge. It's big. I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. And you know, I
Mm-hmm.
think about like what could happen to the I think about like the all those like big aspirations, which a part of me wants all of that. I want Target to reach out to me. I want all this other stuff. But then a part of me is just like, I don't want to be on national television and I don't want like
Mm-hmm.
everyone having all this access to me and I don't want to be celebrity status. Like I just want to go out and be a nobody in a big old city and enjoy that, or
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily a nobody, because if you're not watching the YouTube video, listener, I have rainbow hair. So I have mint green hair and lilac purple hair as well. So I
Mm-hmm.
can't really be a nobody because I kind of stand out and I have piercings. So yeah, I mostly wear rainbow colors too. So, but
Mm-hmm.
but also it's just like there's there's a lot of things that are like the unknown about the
Yeah.
fear of success, which right now, where I am right now, that is what I know. I know this. I know that I can, I'm known in business circles, and I'm known in like Facebook groups that I'm a part of, and I'm known in
Mm-hmm.
like my friend circles and stuff. But when it gets to there's something really scary about like this unknown about the fear of success, about how far you go and things like that. And then there's also just like the fear of dropping the ball. Like, I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what would I drop the ball on in a sense, but I don't know, like if a project falls through, or if, I don't know, I don't work well with the celebrity author. I don't know, like something weird
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like your brain is kind of, my brain is doing this thing where it's trying to protect me
Oh
from this
yeah.
unknown, this thing, that like be comfortable in this space. And so thank you, listener, for like being a part of my therapy session, because whoo, this is great. I needed this. I guess you guys can send me the invoice at melquea@prettykittykthings.com.
Yes, this is a 50-minute hour. Okay, everybody.
But I think about all of these things of like this fear of success, and you know I don't know. It's like it's a mixture of the fear of failure and the fear of success, but
Mm-hmm.
I also know that it will not sustain me, because I have these great goals of being able to move and live and move and shake the way I want to. And I want to be
Mm-hmm.
location independent, and I want to be, financially, not even independent per se, because I do feel like I am financially independent, but I want to feel more like financially, like almost like my big pillars of
Mm.
like, if I go into a store and I see something and I want to buy it, I just want to be able to do the thing,
Mm.
If
Mm-hmm.
I find a gift, or find something that's like a gift, like, oh, my sister would love this, or my nephew would love this, or my best friend would love this, or whoever, and just get the thing because I can,
Yeah. Yep.
because automatically money is already being siphoned into my retirement funds and my investments or whatever the heck. And I have like my savings buckets already done. Great.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that, like, once I have these grandiose goals and I have these things that frankly we all deserve, so I cannot actually let the fear of success like tamper me down, because it's like my goals are way too, it's like bigger than the fear of success. Like my
Mm-hmm.
want of moving abroad is huge. Like I want to do this thing, and so
Mm-hmm.
I don't foresee, unless I work for a company abroad, which they have to be a real special rainbow type of company to do that, like for me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like my job is so like, what a this interview is not about my organization, but this organization's amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
you know I need to find a really special place to work in order for that to be a thing,
Mm-hmm.
um
For it to make sense.
for
Yeah.
it to make sense. And right now, like, the only path forward I see is through my illustration work, and so I have to kind of like grapple with this fear of success and be like, okay, but we're not there yet. We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
When we get that fancy email of like, so and so wants to work with you. Beyonce wants you to illustrate a picture book, or Tabitha
Yep.
Brown wants you to illustrate her next picture book. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm gonna like,
Mm-hmm.
hyperventilate in a corner, sip some water, eat a food, wait 24 hours, scream a little bit, call my friend, and then answer it back, and then cross that bridge.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Oh my God, I hope Tabitha does call you. I love her so much, and I
My
hope that that
nephew,
happens.
she's got a chokehold on my little nephew. Oh my gosh. We were just watching. what episode? Randy Respects. Like we were watching all of it, all of it. And it's
Uh,
so fun seeing like it's also fun seeing it as like a children's book illustrator and
hmm
seeing it as a person who's obsessed with like kids media. Also seeing how like chill. I love how chill her show is too. It's very
hmm
lower on the stimulation too, which I'm very happy about because
hmm
oh man, some shows are really overstimmy even for me. And
Mm.
so I'm like, oh man, like take me back to Bear in the Big Blue House. Take me back
Aw.
to Bluey though. Bluey is like, oh, hands down one of my favorite shows. Just
My nephew loves Bluey. Oh my gosh. He loves Bluey. He loves Daniel Tiger. He's
Daniel
just started
Tiger.
experiencing Sesame Street, which is very special to me
Oh,
because Sesame Street raised me. I
yeah.
still love Sesame Street.
Yeah.
So that's really been a lot of fun.
Oh my
But
gosh.
wow, I like, you have said so much. I know you're saying it's a therapy session. It's a therapy session for me too, because, it's first, I love that you have this tangible goal. Like, it's my goal, my aspiration to live abroad somewhere. And you're okay, you're looking into those possibilities and stuff. And you're like, if I don't do XYZ here and now, I can't get over there. I can't make that happen. So that in and of itself is like a great, just like mirror moment for yourself. Because it's
Yeah.
kind of like, that's the answer right there. Part of the answer right there is that
Yeah.
you have to like swallow the medicine to do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but something that I struggle with is like the word goal is
Mm-hmm.
so pressury to me
Mm-hmm.
that I've started over the last year. I've switched it to intention instead,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
and that has taken pressure off of the result while still keeping my foot on the gas, if that makes sense.
Yes,
Um,
1000%.
and so I've tried to make it be, my intention for the year, my New Year's intention instead of
Mm-hmm.
resolution, my intention for the day.
Yeah.
And that has made it a little easier to chip away at certain quote unquote goals, um, that are really intentions. But the self-sabotage loop is like brutal. And I was sharing with you, offline, before we started, for everybody here, is that sometimes an opportunity comes up that makes me like excited on the one side and questiony and wondery, and then the other side is like full-blown panic, pit in the stomach, getting sick, like crying, like
Oh, so what you're
and
calling
it's
is
like
it's called terrified and excited and terracited.
terror-sighted. Holy crap. This is amazing. Yes, exactly. Terror-sighted. That is what it
Yes,
is.
it is indeed. And apparently those two emotions are rooted in like I don't know the exact science, but I heard or read that being scared and being excited are kind of rooted in the same like place.
You're
So
right.
when
I did
you're
see that too.
yeah, so when you're afraid and you're excited, there's like this you're feeling your breath going, okay, but what if? And there's a lot of that in business as well, and just terror excitement in business. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like something that happens with me is like if I'm reading about the opportunity or I take a meeting about the opportunity or I'm thinking about the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity, whatever it is, it's like the opportunity, even though it's not anything yet. Like I'm
Yeah.
not working there yet. I haven't signed anything yet.
Yep.
Just the possibilities in my brain are already like 5 years ahead down the road. Like
Thousand
what you were
percent.
just talking about what if I'm so successful I can't keep up? What if Beyonce calls me like and I relate to that so much because I'm already at the end of the story or at the bad part of the story or at the story where I screw something up or where
Say
I don't
something
get along with
wrong.
somebody, say
I
something
get
wrong.
canceled.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And it's
Like,
like when you were talking before about slowing ourselves down to observe our space and we need to also
yeah.
slow ourselves down during these like thought spirals where we just start
Yeah.
going crazy. And I like when an opportunity comes up sometimes, like it becomes quote unquote scary in my mind. And
Hmm.
then because it's scary, I tend to just like be scared and pessimistic about like
Yeah.
whatever the thing is. And I
Yeah.
start lining up all the ways that it's not right for me, why I don't like it, and I do all of this sometimes before I even talk to the person, before I even have the meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
And I have to remember though that when someone comes to me for an opportunity or a project or whatever, like I need to remember that my reputation and my work is what led to that opportunity
Hmm.
and what led to them reaching out. And I need to just like slow my roll and
Yeah.
do it one step at a time because I want to be successful. I want to
Yeah.
make money. I want to grow my business. But similar to you, I'm not necessarily aspiring to be, this huge like mogul or something. I just want to be able to, you know, go to Trader Joe's and get whatever I want and go to the mall, not the mall, but whatever store and get
Whatever
whatever
it
I
is,
want
a
and go
thousand
on
percent.
vacation when I want and go out to dinner when
Yes.
I want. And like,
Yes.
I don't have to, be on a budget about what apps I subscribe to and
Oh
like
my
dropping
God.
things left and right. Like,
Yeah. Like I want to
I
consume,
just,
I want to be like a mindless consumer, but like not a mindless consumer in like the bad way.
yes,
Like for example, if I
yes,
like, I don't know, like see an artist go fund me and I just will like drop like $1,000 just because, I want to make sure that they're
amazing.
okay. Or just like
Yes,
go to a restaurant and just like have like a little envelope and it's got like a couple $100s in there. Cause I've always dreamed of being able to do that one day of just like,
totally.
just because, like, imagine how like impactful like your one action, and it doesn't have to be that huge, right? It could be something small like taking a friend out to dinner, that or taking your sister out or taking your like whatever, whoever you want out who on a whole day long experience, and they didn't have to think about
Yeah.
anything, like just like little ways that you want to, not even little, those are kind of big ways that you want to give back, but
But
also
being able to be like generous without like panicking about being
yes.
generous.
Yeah. Like I want to be like generous because I know that like my cup is fulleth and therefore
Yeah.
it can overflow. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Yes,
also want
I
to
totally get
backtrack
that.
too.
Yeah.
I'm going to backtrack too and be like, and also mention that like these folks are reaching out to you because they want to work with
Mm.
you.
Hmm.
Like that is also something that's so important, that like us as creatives and people that are femme presenting and all the things, like these people are reaching out to us because they want to work with us, and so there is a
Hmm.
mutual, there's like a mutual, like I want to work with them or I may want to work with them too, but there's like they reached out to us, and even then if we reach out to like other companies and stuff and we want to work with them, like they'll respond back to us because they see some sort of like, I want to work with them, or I can see a viable relationship, or I can see some sort of thing. So there's like all of that too.
You're right. And I appreciate you saying that and calling that out because that's something that is also a bad habit of mine is that I gloss over like the high points or the positive points or the good points or the wins. And I
Yeah.
put the spotlight on the zaps, the negatives, the
Mm-hmm.
little things that irk me. And
Yeah.
I was just talking a couple episodes ago with my client Jessica. We had this same exact conversation about, hey, you skipped all the good parts in your little recap there, Missy. Like, let's back up for a second. You also did this and this and this and this, and you accomplished this and this and this and this. Like, where's your celebration for that? Go get a cupcake. And so that's our
Yeah.
little thing now is like celebrating the small wins.
Yeah.
And it's something that I have to work at. It really is. And I think
Yeah.
it's just like how you would work on building up a muscle. It's like, the same kind of thing. Like you're right. They are reaching out because they want to work with me. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's our prerogative to make sure that we click and vibe with those people and we want to take
Yeah.
on that work. But we have to stop booing ourselves off stage before we've even performed. And
Seriously. Yeah. Like we
like
can't
we
give
just
them
have to
any,
stop.
yeah, like we can't, they're gonna say no 100% because you didn't reach out, or you sabotage yourself, and that's something that I have to talk to myself about all the time. um
Hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And there was another thing I want to talk about, like celebrating ourselves.
Yeah.
I am just bad at that. You know what my celebration is? Continuing more work. Like that's like, I just, hooray for the thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna start doing something else. Like it really
Yep.
is.
Jump right
It's
back in.
yeah. So let's just
Uh-huh.
jump right back in. It's fine.
Yep.
So what I started doing was I at first I was like, I don't know how do you celebrate. How do I celebrate an accomplishment? And especially
Mm-hmm.
like with like financial goals. Like so for folks who, let's say if they have like a body goal or a financial goal, like would I, let's say I had a body goal and I had a goal to, I don't know, uh insert whatever thing that includes a change in my body, and I do the
Mm-hmm.
thing, but do I want to reward myself with something that that may also alter my body? Or same thing with financial
Mm.
goals, right? Like financial
Mm-hmm.
goal, I do the financial goal, hooray. Do I want to spend money as the goal? Like is that how that
Good
does that
question.
work? So I was, and so, but most of those goals, or like most of those things, I'm like, how do I celebrate an accomplishment? So one of the things, I'm terrible at celebrating accomplishments, and so I started creating a list, and I live by this like a little color app or color note on my phone. It's like an app on my phone that can create checklists and things and jot down ideas whenever I'm out and about. If I'm on an all walk and I get inspired, I'm like, oh, a picture book idea, or oh, an idea for this. And so I get to like
Mm-hmm.
jot it down and just have like a just a comprehensive place that I can put it. I
Mm-hmm.
started putting a rewards list on my phone. And so as I'm like going throughout life and I'm going throughout things, I think about like, okay, what is a reward that I would like? And I categorized it with like small rewards, things that are kind of free or cost less than like $15, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Medium rewards between, I don't know, 30 and 50 or 30, whatever's medium.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends on like your financial, like what is what. And then like
Yeah.
super huge, big old goals, like, I don't know, booking a
Mm-hmm.
2 week trip to Aruba, whatever, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I thought about this and I was like, okay, actually, I'll read a list because I know,
Please, I was just about to ask.
yeah, because some folks might need like a little bit of ideas, because I started research trying to, I even googled like how do you reward yourself for certain
Mm-hmm.
things, and I didn't get that far, but
Okay.
I started thinking about myself. So small rewards, one goal or one reward is read, like actually read for the rest of the evening.
Mm.
That's literally what I typed, because
Yeah.
sometimes I want to read something and I'm like, okay, but I got to answer that email, or okay, I got to go do that, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another one is cozy up and watch an animated movie. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a bunch of movies that are like on my to watch list eventually. Like I still want to watch
Oh, me
Trolls.
too.
I want to watch Trolls Band Together, because even though like the movie itself is, like a commercial type movie, the art behind the movies are just, yeah, oh my God, it's amazing. It's
Mm.
so beautiful. And also it's just like one of those things I just want to watch. Um,
Yeah.
there is a cafe in my home city called Cake Bar that I am obsessed and in love with. So one of the rewards was like treat yourself to the cake bar, like go to the cake bar. I love watching YouTube. You'll always catch me watching all sorts of YouTube, like YouTubers, travelers, you name it. So literally
Mm-hmm.
watch YouTube for the rest of the day. Another small reward is go catch a movie, and in parentheses, and get popcorn, because
There we go.
I always skip out on the popcorn because it's like, oh, it's too
Mm-hmm.
buttery, it's too this, whatever. Um,
Get it.
Another lake there's like a lake that I love to go to like, so one of my small rewards is like schedule time and go like take a walk at that lake, go to that place. So those are like my small rewards. Those are relatively free. They're smaller in
Mm-hmm.
price, shouldn't cost no more than like 20, 15, $20.
Yeah.
Except for the movie, that's like 25, but it's fine. It's fine. It's
Yeah.
fine. Medium rewards. I only have a few, but buy a new piece of clothing that you've been eyeing for a while. One of the things
Hmm.
I love like indie fashion and indie fashion brands, especially because I'm able to actually find items that are of larger sizes and have a larger size range. And so I've
Hmm.
noticed that like a lot of artists who design their own clothes are more fashion forward than obviously your bigger box brands, your Victoria's Secrets, where you can't find a pair of underwear that's bigger than a large, like,
Hmm.
and so
Hmm.
there's a lot of clothing items that I totally want to buy, but I just can't do that all the time. Um,
Yeah.
I have another one called Get Second Hole Jewelry. So I
Hmm.
have two piercings on my ears, and I don't
Hmm.
actually have my second hole jewelry because I can't find like the right jewelry, just like an easy gold stud that, does not make my ear react.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I just haven't like gotten to do the thing where it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, let me actually go and do the thing. So I was like, oh yeah, getting a second hole jewelry would be a nice reward where it's like a nice real gold, real piece of jewelry that will work for my second holes. Getting new
Hmm.
nose jewelry. So I have my septum pierced. And
Hmm.
as you can probably tell, my piercing is a little bit like off kilter, and it annoys me because sometimes it's
Oh.
like skewed off, and I'm just like, oh no. So I want to get a second, like another septum jewelry that is actually rounded and pretty and like
Hmm.
whatever. But it works, and I love how simple it is. But I really
Hmm.
want to get like new nose jewelry. So that's like my medium rewards. Things that are a little bit more expensive, things that are a little bit on like that I'm doing a big thing, and I'm just like, okay, I want to be able to reward myself. And then a huge
Hmm.
reward is I don't have anything bigger, or I don't have anything else besides just this one thing, but research and book a 2 week solo trip. I would love to do that.
Hmm.
I would love to do that.
Love that.
Or actually, I just thought of something.
Put it
Um,
in.
go to or schedule a highlights retreat.
Ooh.
So for my authors out there, especially my children's book authors that are out there, there's this um, organization called Highlights. They have a um, what is it called? A magazine. They also have a magazine as well.
Hmm.
And they have this place in Pennsylvania where you can go and you can schedule a retreat there. And it's a writer's retreat, writers and illustrators retreat. So you can go there, you can be in nature, you can just kind of take moments away from your day to day. You can be there for 3, 4, 5, however long you want to be there. And you can just write or immerse yourself in picture books or immerse yourself with other writers and illustrators or
Ooh.
rest because resting is important as well. Resting is also creating, my dear listener.
Oh
Resting is
yeah.
also being a business owner, all right? It's
Hmm.
not always the emails that you send out. It's not always the podcast episodes that you listen to and you record. It's also resting. And so I was
Hmm.
like, oh, that's a great, like, huge reward because it costs about a couple $100 to be there. But I also really want to go to Highlights again because they feed you
Hmm.
good. Oh, they just feed
Nice.
you good too. Like it's a great experience.
Now
So
wait, is Highlights, is that the same Highlights magazine from when we were kids? That's
uh-huh.
different. It's the
Yeah.
same one?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
I loved
yeah,
Highlights magazine. Spot the difference in this
yeah.
picture.
Uh-huh.
And who is it? Goofus and Gallant
Oh
thing, and
yeah.
remember Goofus and
Uh-huh.
Gallant and Ma and Pa something something family, the Wooden family. Oh my God. I didn't
Yeah.
know they
It's
were
the
still
same folks.
I didn't know it was still around.
Yep. And I'm just gonna
Amazing.
throw it out there. I would love to be an illustrator for one of those magazines.
Let's go. Let's
It'd
go.
be
Oh
so
my
fun.
God. I'm tagging them in
It'd be
this. This is
so
so cool.
fun.
I love that. Thank you for sharing your list with us. And that was such a
Yeah.
cool idea because I know what you mean. It's like, okay, I hit my financial goal. Now I'm going to blow a bunch of my financial goal on this thing.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
like, shit. Like, so I love that you're like, okay, let's find up some alternative things that are still rewards and still fun, but not
Yeah.
necessarily, a spend, or like you said earlier,
Yeah.
like a food thing or a body thing. Like it's like, you
Right.
have different ways. I love that. And it's such a good reminder because especially with ADHD, we need that dopamine hit. We need that reward to come.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Yup.
and so it's fun to look at that list and be like, okay, if I get like a couple more points, I can hit this goal and then I can redeem that prize. So I
Yes.
love that. And I also liked how you turned some things that maybe were like, um, not a chore, but like a to-do list task into a reward, like the earring thing. You're like, okay, I've
Yeah.
been meaning to get to this. I've been meaning to get to this. Oh, if I make it a reward, it'll actually get done. And I'll
Yeah.
like
And it
be
was, and it's
intentional
one of
about
those
doing it.
things. Yeah. And it was one of those things that was just like, I'll eventually do it, maybe. I don't know. It's not
Yeah.
like important enough, but at the same time, I'm always like, oh, it'd be really nice to like have my little second holes. Like it just adds a little
Yeah.
edge of alternativeness. Like, wow, she doesn't have just one ear piercing, she has two. Like I just,
But wait, there's more.
or just
That's
like
funny.
I want to get like a new septum
Hmm.
jewelry, but like it's always just been like a want. And
Yeah.
I know like what I'm looking for, but it'd be really fulfilling if it was like a goal, like, and it's also
Hmm.
something I do need to save up for because like where I tend to get like my piercing jewelry from, they're a little bit more higher end. So
Mm.
they're more like,
Hmm.
or like they're like boutique. They're like a boutique spot. So their prices are a little bit more like I have to like work towards the prices. So I'm like, okay,
Hmm.
I gotta like save up for this thing. I can't just like go
Hmm.
to like a random shop and be like, all right, give me like a $20, $20 septum jewelry and hope my nose doesn't react to it. Like
Right. There's some things that maybe we should invest a little in just to play it safe.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can wear Walmart jewelry in like my ear piercing, but my
Hmm.
second holes, no, they'll be
Yeah.
so my ears will be like, what are you doing to me? You suck.
No, I get that. No, you're making the right decision. I love the rewards list. That's such a cool hack. Like I'm definitely going to start that in my phone because I love that. And maybe I have like a dry erase board in my office, so maybe I'll
Yeah.
put them there too to keep them, front of mind. Um, so little bit of like a rapid fire thing here as we're heading to the end. And we
Yeah.
are going to talk about your membership and your freebie before we finish. But you talked a lot about travel and destinations, and I know you've been all around the globe, and you've been some of it has been pet sitting, some of it has been
Yes.
personal trips and travel. You've been to so
Yeah.
many amazing places. Give me your top few cities in this world and why.
Oh gosh. Okay. Top few cities in this world and why?
And of the follow-up question, of these three, I would love to know if any of them like sparked a big like creative moment for you too,
Oh.
like an inspiration of something.
So I've got a domestic city, New Orleans in
Okay.
Louisiana. Um,
Hmm.
it was, I want to say, it wasn't the first place I've ever been to, but it was a place that I went to with my mom and my sister, and it was a completely different pace. And the
Mm.
folks are just different. And there's like, it was my first real like exploration with folks who I guess were like, I guess would say more Southern
Hmm.
than a New Yorker would be. And, I remember being so activated when I heard gentlemen talking, like to my sister, mom, and I saying, "Good morning, ladies. How y'all doing?" And I was like, "Good
Hmm.
morning, ladies. How y'all doing? What do you mean, good morning, ladies? How y'all doing? What does that mean? What is that insinuating? What do you like?" And it was just like, no, it was literally genuine. Good morning, ladies.
Hmm.
How are you doing today? Like it is
Hmm.
full full on just like manners and being kind and being genuine.
Southern hospitality.
Southern hospitality, it really was that. And it was so funny as like I look back, and I was very young at the time too. So I was very much like, what do you mean, good morning? How are you doing? What does that mean? The food is amazing. The folks are really kind. People are just I feel myself slowing down when I go
Mm.
there. And I wish I wasn't so adverse to the heat because I would absolutely like
Mm,
be
God, me
there for
too.
more. I can't do the heat
Nope,
often.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
This one is a little like cliche, but Tokyo, Japan.
Mm,
And I will say not even because of Tokyo as a whole. I just literally mean the people that I met. I
okay.
met an amazing person named Alicia, also named Alicia.
Oh.
And she literally changed my Japan trip for the better. She is so cool. She just, oh my God, she's just the coolest person ever. And she introduced me to her friends who are like musicians and people who just like live and work in Tokyo and teach and all this other stuff. And I just got a community, like instantly gained a
Mm,
community when I went there. And I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting this. Like we went to like this visual K concert, which was kind of, it's almost like metal, but it's not metal.
okay.
Like it was just this really cool like concert that I started meeting people from all over the world. And like it Tokyo like has a place in my heart because of the people that live there.
Mm,
um and of course I have and I also have um a person that I went to school with who's Japanese that also lives in Japan as well, in Tokyo. And so every time I go, I try to visit her, and we
nice.
raise hell in those streets. We raise hell in those streets. Oh, Yuka. Oh my gosh. And then interestingly enough, this other city is called, and I'm gonna botch it, but it's called Utrecht. I hope I said it right, in the Netherlands. Um, my partner and I went to the Netherlands for like 4 days, and we fell in love with the country, but we also
Mm,
really loved Utrecht itself. It's like this college town. It's like I love a secondary city. I love a city that's kind of like it's not like it's not like the big city. It's like the secondary city. You don't have to deal with like big city problems. But Utrecht is
hmm
almost like this college town. It has like these cool restaurants, these cool places, and it's got a bunch of canals, and it's got a lovely vibe to it. We've only been there for like 4 days, but we definitely want to go back and visit. But I just really liked just how picturesque places were. It gave me a lot of inspiration as I'm just like walking these cobblestone streets, and so grateful that I can't wear heels and I wear just like flat shoes. Just grateful that like, and also just like the fact that it's like a biking city slash country too.
mm,
um
hmm
the fact that we were able to just walk and walk and walk and walk, like literally just kept walking until we were like, we should probably head back. Like, because everything is so interconnected, like
hmm
walking paths and biking paths, and just the act of being active and the act of being able to just like go out and walk is just really lovely. I love that
mm.
about most cities that are not North American cities.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's probably a bit more picturesque and you just feel like you're in a different place.
New
Like
York
you're
City is,
exploring.
yeah, New
Mm.
York City is that way too. Like I was tempted
Hmm
to put New York City up there. I visited a lot just because my family, my sister, my brother-in-law live there. But now I'm starting to
hmm
gain community also in New York City too, which is really difficult. Because
Mm.
every
hmm
time I come down here, I have to stay longer because I have more people that I need to like reconnect with. So
Yeah, yeah.
I I wish I could just like, oh, I wish I could be like one of those people that have like, I don't know, like a summer apartment in New York or something. I wish that'd be the coolest.
Yes.
I'm just like, you know how some people like on their Instagrams, they might have like three different cities that they just bounce back and forth to. I wish I was that person, just like New York,
hmm
Tokyo, this place, New York. Like I just like, you'll catch me here in this season. You'll catch me here in this season. You'll catch me here in this.
Yeah.
I'm a transplant of all places, you know?
There we go. It's coming. It's coming.
It'd be so fun because at first I was like, I thought about it. I'm like, oh, I really actually love being in just all different places. And a part of me felt really scared of like, oh, but if I move abroad and I move to this one place, will I make friends? Will I be able to like find community? And then my best friend Ashanti, like pushed back and was like, even when you're here in your home city, you always are meeting people. You're always talking with folks. You're always
Mm,
doing something, even if you're doing something virtual. Like you have community everywhere. Like I feel like
yeah.
Cassie and Andor, like I have friends everywhere. Like
But it's true when you have an online business and you can work from anywhere and you never know where you're
yeah,
going to make connections. And yeah, I
yeah.
get that. Yeah.
1,000%. Especially like when now that I'm getting to know people that are like digital nomads. Like my friend Alicia lives in Tokyo, so like now when I go to Japan, like I have like besides Yuka, which I oh god, I love seeing her all the time. Like we so many amazing memories with that girl. Oh my gosh! Like now I'm able to just like I have friends everywhere. Like I can
Mm,
go to a place and be like, okay, I'm here. Who do I know that's in this like this country? Who do I know that's in this city? Who do I know that is nearby? Because
hmm.
besides being in America, like other countries, you can actually like traverse to these places and things like that. So it's just like you're able to like just meet a lot of folks and just like talk to people and
Yeah.
be able to connect with folks that are overseas, which is just amazing.
And
Because
that says so much about you too. Like you're able
oh
to connect with people and grow your community no matter where you are. You can,
yeah,
just bloom wherever you are planted. And I love that so much.
thank
I could tell
you.
that immediately about you. Like this has been such a fun conversation. I'm obsessed with it.
Thank you.
And speaking of obsessed, we were talking before this before the commercial before this episode started. Um, give me something you're obsessed with right now.
Severance. Full stop.
Okay.
Oh my
Yes.
God, I'm so obsessed. Like, now, mind you,
So
this
good.
colorful children's book illustrator that loves joy and peace and all this other stuff is watching this dark and dismal but kind of funny
Mm-hmm.
office drama about severing your brain and blah, blah, blah. I don't believe in
Mm-hmm.
spoilers, dear listener, so I am not going to spoil you. I will just say I am obsessed with the show. I'm obsessed with the background, like the where the show not originated from, but just like the stories behind the show. The fact that the artist, there's a designer slash animator who designed the intro sequence
Mm-hmm.
of both the seasons of Severance. They brought this
I
person
love intro
on.
sequences. Mm.
It's so good. It's so good. They brought the person on because they saw him on Instagram and was like, "Oh, this person
Oh
does some
wow.
wild wicked crap. Let's totally hire this person." And it's just
Love
like
it.
that's super cool. And then you're just like, now you're literally designing an intro sequence for a show written by Ben Stiller. You're like, what? How
That's
cool?
awesome.
And just imagine if this person had a fear of success.
That's
He goes
right.
into it.
Exactly. Who knows? Maybe they reached out to other people first, or maybe, like you don't know.
Yeah,
And
who
he
knows?
was open to the moment. But I love that. And
I
it's so
love
funny that
that.
you mentioned that. So, I live 15 minutes from the real Lumen. Bell Labs is right down the road from me. And my grandfather and my mom both worked there back in the day when it was Bell Labs. My sister-in-law works there now. And so she is like, "Oh yeah, they film on the fifth floor, like da da da." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, what?" And so like I grew up like going past the big water tower my whole life, and all of that stuff is really there. And a month ago, my brother, who is also obsessed, he was like, "Hey, like, I think there's something happening, but like, it's not an official event. Look at this tweet, blah, 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 whatever." And Ben Stiller was like dropping these weird little cryptic hints or whatever that something was going to happen. We went and there was like no clarity of what was going on, but it was clear something was happening.
Oh my God.
And there was a VIP section with chairs. There was this like big screen that had like the Apple TV logos on it. There was like stanchions set up. They had a guy playing the theme song on a piano in the big atrium. We
Stop
stood
it.
we we stood under the concrete wall with Kier's head. I have a picture. I'll send it to you. All this stuff was going on. And then we're standing there and we're like, like, what is this? And like more and more people are showing up and like there's like chatter in the crowd. They're like, what is this? Why are we here? We don't know. This is so weird. And then like the lights go out, the big screen gets dropped,
Oh my God.
and there is the green scenes with the goats and what's her face? I can't remember her name. Brienne of
Oh,
Tarth.
yeah, yeah.
She's standing there ringing a bell in person, and we're like, oh my God, what is her name? Gwendolyn Christie?
Gwendolyn Christie, yes.
Yeah. So she was
Yeah.
there. We're all screaming. Then the lights go out again. Stephen Colbert walks out and he's got a list of questions, and then the whole cast comes out. The only people who weren't there were Patricia Arquette and Christopher
Oh,
Walken, but
yeah.
everybody else
Oh,
was there,
wow.
and Ben Stiller and the creator Dan Erickson.
Yeah.
And it was a Q&A for an hour.
Would have
And
lost
we're
my
taking
mind.
pictures,
Would have
and
fainted. I've never
it was
fainted in my life, but
so
I would have done
cool.
it.
And what it ended up being was it was some sort of influencer event that the
Yeah.
influencers got like the VIP seats, but they opened it, quote unquote, to the public without really saying so.
So
And so it was
cool.
so cool, and it was so eerie
Oh,
being in that actual space. It was
yeah.
awesome.
Oh my God. I would have lost it. Like,
It was
so
so
if
much
you
fun.
are listening to this podcast and you're not seeing the YouTube video, like I can see some of my glasses fogging up because I'm just like obsessed. I'm so obsessed. I just it's the theme song is just gold.
It
It like
is.
I think it won the artist who did the intro sequence for the first season won an Emmy, rightfully so.
Mm.
I remember seeing on YouTube for the second season, the somebody commented, "Just give this person an Emmy again." And I was like, "Yes, exactly, 1,000%." And
Hmm.
and I believe also Theodore Shapiro, who was the composer for the pretty much the entire like all the music except for like the music that they brought in, also won awards. I'm just like, yep, that flowers where flowers are due. Just, and I don't, and
So good.
it's so good. And so yeah, that show is one of my obsessions. I also heard that I saw that there was a Grand Central like terminal like pop-up event, which was
Yes, I heard about that.
before I even knew that it existed, that the show existed or whatever. And I'm watching this like, imagine if I knew about this show and was like, yeah, I would have all my marbles would have been lost under the
Hmm.
couch, over on my neighbor's place. Like, where's my marbles? Don't know, can't find it. But oh man, it's such a good
Pressed up
show.
against the glass,
Just
looking.
like
Yeah.
I just,
It's
yes,
so good. It's
very
so
good
good. I
show.
love that that
I
was your
love it.
answer.
Yeah, I love that show. And also Succession is also another
Oh yeah,
show that
that's
I'm
good.
just like the obsessions is like waning, but it comes back because
Hmm.
it's one of those shows that's just like you like when you're seeing the end credits, or not the end credits, but like you're seeing the actors and the writers that are talking about these shows, and you're listening to the podcasts about how these things came to be, and you can
Hmm.
just see the craft and the care and the attention to detail, and these folks that just know, they're like, we know we have to end this episode because of this, or we know that this person has to go because of this, or we know that uh this show has to end because of this. It's like, it's a good show when they know they have to end. And I'm just like, it
Yeah,
hurts because I don't want the
it
show to
does.
end. But at the same
Yeah.
time, they know that, they just know because they do this. They do this for
Yeah.
a living. And it's just, wow, you
Yep.
guys are great.
It's true. No, I know.
Yes.
It hurts, but it's like we these relationships with these shows sometimes are short-lived, but they're
Uh-huh.
long-lasting in our minds.
Yes.
So I
Oh yeah.
relate totally. Okay, so we are reaching the end here. One thing I want to make sure that we get in is please tell us about your freebie and your membership.
Yes. I'm gonna take a moment
Yeah.
and grab my charger because I'm at
Okay.
9%.
Okay. I know we have just been chatting, but I
Oh my
love this
gosh.
chat.
It's been fantastic.
It's
All
been so much
right.
fun.
Beautiful. Now we're now plugged in. So
Okay.
I help folks who are authors, educators, entrepreneurs, edupreneurs, authorpreneurs, folks who want to have assets. So I'm an illustrator. I'm a children's book illustrator by trade. And I realized something. I said, there's a lot of I'm able to create picture books where the main characters are Black, or the main characters are Black and plus sized, or, certain things like that. But as I mentioned earlier, it takes about a year for me to
Mm-hmm.
illustrate picture books. And a lot of times I'm also I'm also co-creating this with my children's book, um, like my art director and the editor and folks like that. So there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of say that is weighed. So sometimes certain characters aren't chosen, or certain designs
Mm.
aren't, followed through, or there's different things. And so I was like, well, how can I, one, add to the representation and showcase this, and then two, also be able to have my artwork help other folks. And I said, why not create assets that, like illustrated assets, clip art that folks can use for their own projects. Um, if you're an author and you're trying to create social media graphics, if you're a teachers pay teacher seller and you are creating lesson plans and you want to have more, clip art of kids that actually have bantu knots, or have,
Mm-hmm.
micro braids, or have,
Mm-hmm.
different things like that, or have locks. If you want to have a little bit more representation in the things that you're creating. And so I was like, why not do something like that? And I pre-launched a membership where folks can get a new illustration that they can use in their inbox every week for just $9 a month. And it, I, as of this recording, today, Monday, May 12th, is the last day to be able to sign up for the beta membership. But I'm
Mm.
going to have a wait list that will be, if you sign up for my email list, you'll be able to get three illustrations that you can use for your work. And you'll be able to also sign up for the wait list so that you can be notified for when I do open it back up. And it'll be open for a very limited amount of time and then close back up, because selling indefinitely is hard. I didn't get any
Yeah.
art done this past week as I was in pre-launch mode. I was like, oh, this is not sustainable.
Yeah. Launch life is tough. It is tough. Yeah. So I understand the open door, closed door, and then we'll do it again in a couple months or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
But
when the doors are open, make sure you get in.
yeah, and we're gonna put the link to the freebie in the show notes. So make sure you
Yes,
grab that from the show notes, and you can get a freebie right to your inbox right away, and you
you
can learn
got it.
about the membership, which is really really exciting.
Yay.
Um, I cannot tell you how much I have enjoyed this conversation. I had so much fun chatting with you. We just went all over the place, which is how I love to do these
Thank you.
episodes and talk about all the things.
Yes.
And you have just been such a joy to spend time with. And I can't wait to follow along with your membership and see how everything goes.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for being here and sharing such great advice and going through a fear of success therapy session with us.
Oh, I needed that. I hope you needed it too, my dear listener.
Oh
I hope
my
so.
God. I did. I'm sure other
Oh
people
my
did
gosh.
too. And thank you just for sharing your heart and your brain with us today.
Thank
Um,
you.
and tell us your website link or your
Yes.
your and your social media handles too.
Yes. So you can find me at prettykittypaintings.com. That is my main website where you can see my children's book art portfolio. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually I'll figure out how to implement my clip art stuff. I haven't figured out a
Mm-hmm.
name for my clip art membership. So once I figure that out, I'll be able to like bridge them separately. But for now, they're just housed under the same world. And you can find me on
Cool.
Instagram at prettykittypaintings as well.
Awesome. Well, you know where to go. Hit the show notes to grab those links. And
Yes.
thank you again so much, my friend. It was so nice chatting with you, Melquea. And
Thank
I look forward
you.
to seeing more from you in the future. And we're in a membership together online, which we talked about
Yes.
before we joined this
We're in
episode.
two
So
memberships together
we're in two
online,
memberships
actually.
together online.
Oh
That's
my
right.
gosh.
Yes. So I'll see you in there.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
And this has been
you.
so much fun.
So much fun. I'll talk to you soon.
Yay. Bye.
Bye.